everybody. Welcome to Nurse Table Talk. We are going to continue our video series today on patient advocacy. So in video number 1, we just did a brief overview of what advocacy is and why it's important. And we're going to follow this video up with another one about what do you do if you are the patient advocate, but you're meeting with some issues and some resistance, and how to get your needs addressed and your concerns taken care of. And in this video, we're going to concentrate just really quick and dirty, super simple about there's an etiquette to advocacy. I can't even say it, but there's a way to conduct yourself. Thank you. There's a way to conduct yourself when you're trying to speak for your loved one or for your patient or for your best friend or for your husband. That lends itself to be more effective. You come off a little bit better. People take you seriously a little bit more. They listen with bigger ears, and they're a little bit more receptive. So we're going to talk about, as nurses, kind of what we've seen that kind of lends itself to why maybe people end up having issues. So Jules, do you want to take it away on what those things look like?
Sure. So let's start off with what Kathy just mentioned about speaking on behalf of the patient. If a nurse has just started her shift and she comes into the room and she wants to say hello to, let's say they're in the hospital, she wants to say hello to them while they're laying in bed. She wants to see if they can even answer her questions, say hi, if they can respond. She might ask them what day of the week it is, things like that, because she's trying to see and assess their mental status and see if they're able to respond back. And sometimes if the advocate is sitting at the bedside, they may speak up and answer the questions for the patient, where really that's not what the nurse is trying to do. Yeah, so there might be one example.
Yeah, those questions are being asked for a reason. Right. They're being asked to make sure that the person knows where they are, knows what day of the week it is, knows that they're at the hospital. Right. And if I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's Tuesday, she knows it's Tuesday.
That's right. And so speak
the whole thing out the window. So yeah, it's really important.
And that can happen anywhere. That can be in a doctor's office. It can be in a nursing home. It could be in assisted living. The advocate, they're really trying to help you, but in the meantime, the professionals are asking the questions for a specific reason. So you just want to be aware of that.
Okay. Julie, here's another one. I'll do this one. Okay. She has a headache. It hurts in the front of her head. I've given her Tylenol. I've given her this. I've given her that. Nothing's working.
Okay.
I told her it's probably that, that sugar that she's drinking all the time. So take this one away, Jules.
Well, again, the doctor or professionals just they want to know how bad does it hurt? They're going to ask the question, they may have her rate her pain, or they may have other questions about not just related to the headache. They may have other health questions. And again, so you just want to be aware that the professionals are asking the questions for a specific reason. Now, if that person is not able to talk at all, or they have mental health conditions that don't allow them to answer those questions, then of course you're going to be speaking up, and they will be then maybe directing the questions to you. But let the professionals, really start with the patient, or, that may be you, our viewers, first. So
Julie, here's the next one.
Okay.
So my mom's food tray came today, and I was really thirsty.
Okay.
So I drank her orange juice, because she doesn't drink orange juice anyway. And she had some Jell-O on the tray, and I'm not really a Jell-O fan, but I was really, really hungry, so I ate her Jell-O too. What's wrong with that?
That as a dietitian, I've seen, you'd be surprised. I have seen that happen. That's
Oh,
a no-no. And the reason being is because they want to measure how much that your mom is drinking or the patient is drinking. And so they're keeping an eye on that. The other things too, when it comes to people's food trays, you don't want to be eating anything off the food trays. Again, they're taking, when a person's done eating, they're going to let that doctor or professional know how much of that tray did they eat. Did they eat 100% of the tray, 50% of the tray, 75% of the tray? So again, they have their reasons for doing things. Do you want to slip them some food and say, maybe mom's on a puree diet and you got some potato chips and you think, oh, she loves it. She's
that's a
just
good example too.
He's just going to suck the salt off the chip, okay? But really, you don't want to be doing that, because if they have any kind of dysphagia or problem swallowing, you may not even be aware of that, because
Or if
maybe
they're
their
on a
condition has changed since they got into where they're at now, the hospital or the facility where they're at. So really the point is, you really don't want to be taking things from the tray or adding things to the tray. And if you do, if you really are serious about doing it, ask the nurse, ask the doctor, get permission first. And also ask them before you even show your loved one the item, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Offer it to them, they get
and
all
then they can't
excited,
have
and then you have to pull it away. So
mean nurse said no.
I know.
Okay,
So
here's another one. Um, no one's looking at my loved one. No one's been in here for 20 minutes and she needs this and this and this and this, and no one's coming. The light's been on for an hour and a half.
right.
Someone get in here right now. Jules?
Well, in that situation, I would just, you have to be aware that nurses have other patients, and you can put the call lights on. And I understand, especially during COVID, there's going to be different staffing situations.
Oh,
So you
different. Real.
have to be really respectful. The nurses and the aides are going to do is the best that they can for quality of care, and they want to take really good care of their patients. So please keep that in mind, and just to be courteous to your healthcare professionals that are trying to help, like in Kathy's situation, her mom or a patient, or wherever you might be.
I always tell people too, if your loved one always has to go to the bathroom after lunch, they always have, they always will, it's just what they do. Don't wait until they tell you they have to go to the bathroom to put the light on. Put the light on when they're 3/4 of the way done with lunch, because it's going to take 20, 30 minutes sometimes to get somebody into the room. And then when they get into the room and you have them go to the bathroom, see if there's anything else they need from the person who has come in. It's kind of making that mental list of, well, go to the bathroom, she needs a fresh water, she's in pain, I should ask for some Tylenol. It's like, you gotta kind of realize that, there are a lot of patients that are just one thing at a time, and it's not realistic in most situations. And that's across the board. That's at doctor's offices, that's at assisted living facilities, that's at long-term care facilities, that's at hospitals. Because if your loved one was at home in your living room asking you every 5 minutes for something, how efficient would you be? And so it really is to try to help your staff help your loved one. And that's a huge part of advocacy. We don't even really think about the fact that we have to be mindful of the fact that a human being can only do so much at one time. So a little forethought goes a long way.
Right. And make a list. Like if you notice that they need more toothpaste, or if they need some, cleansing products, or whatever the needs might be. Maybe write it down so when the nurse comes in, you can group all those needs, like Kathy mentioned, together so that that aide or nurse can get it all at once. Because again, they're answering call lights or they're doing the best that they can. But a big thing, and I don't know if you mentioned this, Kathy, is the advocates should not assist the person to the bathroom
No,
themselves.
never,
It can
never.
be,
It can go south real fast.
totally falls,
Yes.
tripping on cords,
Yes.
unhooking
Wires
IVs.
everywhere.
It
Yes.
is, you certainly don't want to be doing that at all. And you think you're trying to help your loved one, but really it's putting them more at risk for falls than anything. So be aware of that too.
I think probably one of the other things too that goes along with being in a room, being in a patient's room, through meals and changing their channels and all that stuff, all that great stuff is please remember too that your loved one needs rest. That's why they're there.
Right.
And people get fatigued, and it's serious. Seriously, this is God's honest truth. People get fatigued and mean and emotional and fatigued just sitting in that chair.
Right.
And so you might be the nicest person on the planet. I can promise you, after sitting at a bedside for 7 hours with a sick loved one, that's out the window, because you need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to see the grass, you need to smell the air, you need to get in your car, you need to talk to somebody who's not sick. So please, please, please do not move in. Do not move in.
You certainly don't want to overstay your welcome. And COVID now has changed some of that situation a bit, but you can always call ahead, talk to admissions in the hospital and see what the new regulations are until those get, I guess, updated. So anyway, to sum it up, I mean, is there anything that we're missing here that you can think of?
So I think to end on this point might be a really good place to end. When someone tells you, when a staff professional says, go home, we will take care of her, or when you're getting a sense that, okay, I can take a breath, our goal in every scenario is to take care of your loved one. No one punches in the nurse time clock or the MD time clock every day aiming to go in and do a crappy job, right? So I think as an advocate, you set the expectation for care. You kind of, you're like, she likes this doesn't agree with her stomach, her favorite juice is this, she uses prune juice for bowels, whatever it is.
Right.
And then you have to trust that the people that you're giving your loved one to are going to do the very best that they can, and make yourself available and make them aware that you're available. Give them your number. If you have questions, if you need me, I can be back in 20 minutes, just call. But moving in was one of those things that always kind of really scared me, because I just didn't feel that the advocate was taking care of themselves the way that the patient needed them to do so. And I think that that's often very much overlooked. So.
And Kathy, speaking of that, I had one more thought. While somebody's in the hospital, if the advocate approaches the nurse or the doctor and says, hey, how do you feel if I do stay that night? Like say it's my husband, or he wants to stay with me, and ask the professional how they feel about that. But again, to realize that, like Kathy said, if they have to go to the bathroom, put the call light on ahead of time. You might also, if they get cold at night, you can be the one going to the nurse's station and asking for the blanket, but get their permission first. Sometimes being there can cause more confusion, because You don't want the nursing staff and the professionals to think you're needing just as much help as the patient because they have other patients to help. And it's not that they don't want to help you. It's just that there's
Yeah,
only so many staff members these days. So please be aware of that. And that was the purpose of today's video, just to let you
yeah.
know what advocates can and cannot do or
You
should
know,
not do.
it's a sticky subject, and
Yeah, it is.
every family takes direction differently than the next family. So it's we do our best, they do their best. Sometimes we hit it out of the ballpark. Sometimes it's really a miserable experience, and that's why we're doing this. Is we want to just enlighten people as to, if you've had bad experiences as advocates, are you doing any of the things that we mentioned? And maybe that is why. So anyway, take it for what it is. We hope it helps.
And thanks for, yeah, and I mean, thanks for watching our channel today. And our next video will be on, if you do run into a problem while being an advocate, maybe how to navigate the health system can be shown to you. And that is the topic of our next video.
All right, until then.
Thanks for watching.
Here.
Like the content you just watched? Hit the like button or hit subscribe here. If you want to be notified of any future videos, please ring that bell. If there's any topic you'd like to see discussed, leave us a comment in the comment section. Nurse Table Talk. Save time, save money, be informed. Thanks for watching.